They found her car first. A beat-up silver Subaru, nose down in a creek off Route 93. 30 miles outside Dutton, Pennsylvania. Engine off. No keys. No driver. The inside was clean. Possibly clean. No mud on the floor mats. No prints on the wheel. No signs of a struggle. Just a field notebook. Pages soaked through and unreadable. And a camera. Still recording, the footage ran for hours. Just trees, wind, silence. And at the very end, only in the last few seconds, a whisper. She sees us now. That was the last. Trace of Ellie Hughes, 19. Anthropology student. Sharp. Grounded. She didn't believe in ghost stories or local legends. She believed in fieldwork, data. The real Chi was doing a research paper on vanishing towns, those places that get eaten alive by time. Old coal mining communities, mostly. Her professor mentioned Dutton in passing, called it the end of the road in more ways than one. Ellie smiled, pulled up a blank map, and decided she'd spend the weekend there. Just one weekend. Dutton wasn't on most maps anymore. No hotels, no gas stations, no population sign. Just a dirt road turnoff, a crumbling post office, and an old mining entrance sealed behind rusted steel bars. When she arrived, it felt like someone had pressed pause on the world. The trees leaned in too close. The wind didn't blow it. Waited. She rented a room in a creaking Victorian house owned by a man named Carter. Late 60s, skin like dried bark, voice like gravel. He barely looked at her as he handed over the key. "You'll want to be in before sunset," he said. Ellie raised an eyebrow. "Why's that?" Stared at her for a long beat, and said things. "Walk out here at night that don't like being seen?" She thought it was small-town superstition, just the usual outsiders beware kind of energy. She smiled, unpacked her things, and set up her camera and field recorder. That first day, she visited the old cemetery. Names weathered off half the stones. Most of the markers dated between 1903 and 1958. She asked a woman at the post office about the mine. The woman didn't answer, just turned and walked into the back room without a word. That night, Ellie reviewed her recordings. Nothing unusual: birds, breeze, footsteps on gravel. Then, just after midnight, something odd. A faint clink, not a glitch, not static. Metal, like steel on stone. Then, silence. She chalked it up to old plumbing, or distant train tracks. But when she asked Carter about it the next morning, he went still. Didn't speak for a moment. Finally, he said, "If you hear it again, don't answer." Ellie asked, "Answer what?" But Carter had already walked away. Later that day, she found an old map in the town archives. The mine shafts ran under the town like veins. One of them, Tunnel D, cut directly under Carter's house. That night, the clinking came back, but it was louder, more rhythmic clang. Clang, clang, like footsteps. From beneath the floor, she pulled the covers tight, tried to rationalize it. Old wood, shifting pipes, maybe raccoons. She kept the light on. At 3:14 a.m., her bedside lamp flickered, then shut off. She sat bolt upright. The silence was immediate, total, then a knock. 3 slow, heavy taps, coming from inside the wardrobe. She didn't move, didn't breathe. The knocking stopped. In the morning, the door to the wardrobe was slightly open. She didn't remember leaving it that way. Still, she convinced herself she was overreacting. She drove to the local library, where she finally got someone to talk. A man named Thomas. He looked mid-40s, but had the eyes of someone who'd seen too much. She asked him about the mine. He sighed. "They say they found something down there, in 58. Something not coal, not gas. Door, like a wall of black glass. Hummed. If you got close to it, they tried to drill through it. What happened?" He stared at her. 2 of them disappeared. Inside a sealed tunnel. Ellie tried to laugh. "That's just a story, right?" He didn't laugh. They closed the mine a week later. No announcements. Just welders at the gates and men with guns, keeping everyone back. That night, Ellie opened the floor vent in her room and dropped her recorder inside. At 2:57 a.m., She woke up gasping again like she'd been underwater. She sat up. The wardrobe was wide open. The vent cover was missing. She grabbed the recorder. There was sound, whispers low. Dozens of them. Dozens of voices. She turned the volume all the way up. The voices stopped. Then one voice, clear, deep, like it wasn't recorded with a microphone, but directly into her mind. "You're in our house now." Power cut out. Her phone battery drained in seconds. She lit a candle and sat in the corner of the room with her back to the wall, staring at the wardrobe, heart hammering, and then the miner appeared, just stepped forward from the shadows like he'd always been there. Helmet, dust-covered uniform, face she couldn't fully see, like it kept shifting between people, faces she didn't recognize, then her own. It smiled with her mouth and whispered, "You see us now?" She screamed, ran, out of the house, into the woods. Down the road, she doesn't remember crashing the car. She doesn't remember how it ended up in the creek. They never found. It's her only that camera and that whisper. A small, worn leather journal. Bethany's name was scribbled on the inside cover. She knew she shouldn't read it, but she did. The first few pages were ordinary class notes, thoughts about her roommate. But then, things got strange. I keep hearing scratching at night, always at 3:11. The drawer opened just a crack today. Something moved inside. Something in the closet. It breathes when I sleep. She looks like me. She's in the mirror now. Grace's skin prickled. She looked toward the mirror above the dresser and quickly turned away. That night, she couldn't help but glance at it as she got into bed. Just a quick look. Her reflection stared back at her, but something about it was off. She blinked her. Reflection didn't. She sat bolt upright. The room was cold, colder than before. Then came the scratching. Exactly 3:11 a.m. She got up and walked to the desk. The drawer was open a few centimeters. Inside was a small, paper-wrapped item. She unwrapped it with trembling fingers. It was a Polaroid. Her asleep. In bed, She dropped it. The door handle was ice cold. It wouldn't turn. She yanked at it, heart hammering. The closet door creaked open behind her. She didn't want it. To turn around? She didn't. But she did, and saw herself, but not quite. The girl standing in the closet had her face, but bruised around the neck, with hollow eyes and a twisted grin. Her voice was barely a whisper. "Why did you take my room?" Grace screamed and ran to the window, but it wouldn't open. When she turned back, the closet was empty again. Chelsea believed her. Maybe she was just scared too, she said. Bethany had said the same things, the same scratching, same mirror. They asked housing for a transfer, but it took weeks to approve. During that time, Grace stopped sleeping. Every night, 3:11 a.m., the scratching would start. She taped paper over the mirror. It didn't help. Sometimes she'd still see it shift beneath the sheet, the reflection pressing forward, trying to come through. One night in desperation, Grace used a knife to carve the word leave into her forearm just to stay awake. Chelsea finally moved her out in secret. 2 weeks later, a housing official checked in on room 310. The new student assigned to it had never shown up. The door was locked from the inside, but no one was there. Only a notebook sat on the bed. A fresh one inside was a single entry. 3:11 a.m., she's back in the mirror, waiting for the next one. No one lives in room 310 anymore, not officially, but during freshman orientation, upperclassmen dare each other to spend the night. In Winslow Hall, they tell the story of Bethany and Grace and the girl in the mirror. They say if you sit on the bed at 3:11 a.m., look straight into the mirror and blink. Just once you'll know. Because if your reflection doesn't blink back, it's already crossed over and it's your room now.